That's all we need.
Wow.
That's
The magic of sound.
Magic of sound.
Do you think that's how they've like first started to like make movies?
Yeah. Absolutely. Somebody had to have thought about that one day.
Like, how do you even come up with the idea of a clapboard?
Right.
They're like, what do we need this for?
Also, like, were they able to like read peaks back then when it was all just on like film strips?
I think that's okay. I don't know if you've noticed this, but like sound in old movies, especially in like the 30s, is like
right out the gate.
it's horrible.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the technology was so primitive.
Like, I know Ethan loves this movie, but the 1930s King Kong movie.
Oh, yeah.
That has like some of the worst sound work. And it's like so annoying and screeching. That's where I think they didn't read peaks. They were just like, ship it out. We don't
also
know.
the dynamic range of what they were actually able to capture back then just isn't match up to what we can these days.
Exactly.
You know, this little recorder that we're working with today is like 100 times more powerful than what they had back then.
We don't have the producer of the show with us.
No, we do not. We're down 2 people today.
3
people.
You forgot one.
Oh,
you forget your producer.
We do. We're down our usual sound mixer. We're down 2 co-hosts. We're down a lot of people today.
We're at bare minimum, folks.
Yeah. So, hello, welcome back to Stacked.
Hey,
this is episode 125.
That sounds right.
Yeah. I believe it. It sounds correct.
It sounds correct. That could be wrong. I don't want to be wrong.
And if it is,
we apologize.
We sincerely apologize, especially to our potential sponsor, Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah, we want to seem professional.
Exactly.
And we want to seem monetizable.
Exactly.
I want to be drenched in money from Bed Bath & Beyond so that I can get the remote.
Yeah, the remote that does anything.
Everything.
Everything and anything.
Exactly. We could get our host back with those buttons.
We could theoretically. But
sad.
but yeah, we have but we're going to roll with just us today.
Yeah.
We're doing this, old school. This is like Siskel and Ebert kind of style. Just
yeah.
One-on-one.
I'm going to roast you so hard today.
Oh yeah.
I wrote a set.
Please don't.
No.
Yeah, you wrote a whole set. Yeah, let me just read this real quick.
Yeah.
First off, fuck you.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. So today we're going to be reviewing Lisa Frankenstein, which is the latest Diablo Cody penned feature.
Diablo?
Diablo.
Yeah.
I have a Mount Diablo where I'm from, in the Bay Area.
I think that's... Never mind.
It's okay. It's okay. Fine. But we had the latest Diablo Cody film to talk about.
Yeah.
And not only that, we got a lot of Super Bowl trailers that we're going to go over.
Oh, yeah.
And share our thoughts on those. And what else? What other topics do we have going on?
Coyote versus Acme.
Yes, which, oh man, we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
But first off, Brandon, what have you been watching lately? If Valentine's Day was yesterday, you guys are listening to this next week. But
yeah.
But what have you been watching to kind of be in the spirit of Valentine's Day?
The only romantic thing I watched was Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies.
I rewatched it for the first time since I saw it in theaters.
I haven't seen it since it came out all those years ago.
Yeah, my Showtime, I remember, this is the only thing I vividly remember about the movie is that it's the only movie I've ever been to that has gotten a standing ovation.
What? Wait. So when you saw it in theaters, what was it, 2014?
Yeah, 2013,
the audience stood up, they cheered?
I remember, because I had started going to the movies and when I was little, but 2012 was the first time that I routinely went.
Yeah.
And this is in the age of right before Marvel sort of blew up or right after they blew up. So it was I had been used to rowdy crowds at this point, but that movie knocked down the house. And we'll get into comparisons later with Lisa Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
But I watched it because I was I gotta watch something romantic. Unfortunately without my girlfriend, but
wait, Evelyn did not watch it with you?
Well, I was like, I'm doing this for research and I don't know if I'm going to have time tonight because I ended up seeing another movie.
Okay.
Which I kind of want to go more in depth because I liked it more.
Okay. Gotcha. So Warm Bodies is okay overall. How does it hold up?
I mean, it's good. I think it's a very sweet movie. And that's the best thing I can say about it is it doesn't really reinvent the genre in any way as a romance comedy, but it's It's fun. It's got good lore mechanics, like eating brains to get people's memories.
I remember
love
that.
I love
remember that. That's like actually probably the only thing I remember about
Oh.
that movie, to be honest. I don't remember a whole lot.
But it's like simple. It's sweet. Did it deserve a standing ovation? Not really.
Man,
No.
standing
That's
O
crazy,
for
right?
Warm Bodies.
Out of any movie, like Cannes,
I don't
like,
even.
film festival.
I
people
never
do that.
even even Endgame. When I saw Endgame, that didn't get us.
No, exactly.
Like people weren't getting up to
No.
cheer for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's crazy. Okay, but what is the movie you want to talk about?
Okay, so Evelyn and I actually did celebrate Valentine's Day at the movies yesterday.
Okay.
We watched The Teacher's Lounge.
Oh, that's nominated for Best International, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is, and it's like uncut gems for teachers.
No way.
Yeah.
What's like? Okay, give me like a log line, but don't go like too far into it because
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up watching it myself.
Oh well, are you actually?
Yeah. Yes, I'm watching every single Oscar-nominated movie.
Good luck.
I'm
Joe.
gonna make it. Just watch me. Just watch me.
I have 2 left, and I'm stressing.
Really? Well, here's the thing. All the shorts I'm going to knock out all in one viewing because
Yeah.
we always do it like when they show it in the theater.
Okay.
And AMC is usually pretty on top of that. The Langley theaters, they show them. So I'm not worried about those.
Okay, so The Teacher's Lounge is essentially a movie that follows a teacher who is dealing with the problem of theft in her classroom. So somebody stole money or something from the kids over there, and then she finds out that somebody stole money from her. And she wants to figure out who stole the money. And it gets into it's like school is a microcosm of like human life and government and politics and stuff like that. And on a mini scale, like these students are acting like press, like politicians and stuff like that to try and get like the answers for why is this happening.
This.
And it's like there's a personal angle to it that I will not spoil it for you.
Okay.
But it's like it's kind of like Anatomy of a Fall.
Interesting. Where there is it kind of like there's like multiple different angles that this could be seen at?
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, you piqued my interest because I've always found like school settings in movies they are like these little societies. Even when I was in school, I felt like that.
Yeah.
You know, there's a class system. There's like almost like a government system in place as well.
Yeah.
Even if it's unspoken or unofficial. So I think that's really fascinating.
Oh, I mean, it nails the little things about school, like the clickiness. Like students will defend each other, they will defend teachers they like, and they will go after teachers they do not
Yes, and that's very real.
Yeah.
Because I remember that would go down, like teachers would do some like messed up shit, but if they were a beloved figure at the school for whatever reason, people would come to their defense.
Yeah.
But like if you weren't well liked as a teacher, like you will get burned by these little brats.
I was really uncomfortable watching this movie.
In a good way, right?
Well, yeah, I was like unsettled. Like there's a point in this movie where I knew it was going to happen because I've seen enough movies to know the formula and stuff like that. But to see what happens occur, I like gasped and I was like, no.
Oh, really?
Really?
Oh, man, you're getting me excited.
Yeah, I hate to overhype movies because I know I disappoint people sometimes with it, but like it's fantastic. What'd you watch?
So this is actually a rewatch.
Okay.
And this is this kind of ties into the whole Valentine's Day theme. I rewatched Past Lives.
Oh.
And when I originally saw it a few months back, it was getting a lot of hype. And to be honest, I was a little underwhelmed when I first saw it. I think I was bracing myself for more of an emotional heavy hitter than it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I was kind of lukewarm on it. Months pass, and a lot has happened in my own life, in my own relationship, and like I kept thinking back to Past Lives, and I'm like, wait, maybe this movie was onto something that I just didn't notice the first time around. So this past week, I gave it a rewatch because along with watching all the Oscar-nominated movies, I want to give all the Best Picture nominees one more rewatch before the ceremony.
Like everyone.
Ideally, yes, except maybe The Holdovers because I've seen that like 7 times at this point. So I don't need to see that again.
He's memorized the movie.
I've almost have The Holdovers memorized, but I digress. And oh my God, I overlooked Past Lives.
It's a good movie.
I think it's a masterpiece.
I think it's good.
Oh my God. I think that movie talks about love and relationships in such a mature way that like I've never seen another movie tackle before.
I think it's very subtle.
It's incredibly subtle, but that's what I like about it.
It's low key. It doesn't have to be melodramatic to really like hit a core emotion.
Yes.
I think even when in my own relationship, I feel very connected to the characters and stuff like that. But I think for me, it didn't emotionally hit me in the way that it hit everybody else. And I wasn't devastated walking out of it like everybody else was.
I wasn't the first time, but then the second time,
Were
I
you crying?
noticed the theme. I did. I teared up. I teared up. Okay, so I have like a soft spot for just like depictions of like positive male bonding.
Oh, yeah.
Between like male characters that isn't rooted in like toxic masculinity. And spoilers for Past Lives if you're late to the party, and if you are, skip ahead and go watch Past Lives. But like the scene where he suggests that they also have Inyan. That, like him and
so
the husband.
Sad, though.
It's so sad, but it's so real and so honest and heartfelt. And I really felt the thesis of this film that like there's like all these like little connections that you have throughout your life. And like and it's where you end up is like the result of all these little coincidences. Like in the movie, the two main characters, the main couple, they're talking about how they almost got married just because it was the most convenient thing to do. She got a green card. They were both in the same profession. They happened to live in the same place.
They were struggling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they got married because of that. And like that doesn't negate the love they have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like she has this connection with this other person that, maybe in another life, in a past life, it is just as strong. But he lives in a completely different country. Her life is taking her entirely away from him. And those are just things that are outside of our control.
I think it just demystifies the concept of like romanticism, but also like there's like a kind of a more spiritual element.
There is.
Because some people go that we're meant to be together regardless of the situation. And then there are some people who like maybe look at their life as sort of like, I could have been with so many other people.
Yeah.
And like, it's so fascinating to see a film try to like play with that notion.
Yeah.
And like, you kind of see that with Everything Everywhere All at Once, which won Best Picture
I
last
think
year.
honestly, those two movies would make a fantastic double feature.
Oh yeah, agreed.
They both tackle the idea of like where we end up in life and like the possibilities of all these like little moments that impact where we end up. Like Everything Everywhere, it's the idea that if Michelle Yeoh didn't go with Ke Huy Quan to America, she could have ended up being this successful actress and had this like extravagant life.
Yeah.
But like also coming to terms with the fact like this is the life I have, and guess what? Like I'm happy with this too. And finding comfort in that.
It's just the close brush with what could have been.
Exactly.
That hurts.
And there's bittersweetness to that. And it's also inevitable too.
Yeah.
It's just an inevitable feeling. But yeah, I rewatched that and I was absolutely blown away. And it's now, before it wasn't anywhere near my top 10 of last year. And now it's like, I think comfortably at number 5.
Okay.
Comfortably.
Holdover's better.
The Holdovers is like my new comfort movie. I'm gonna watch that like every Christmas.
Of course.
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But on to next topics. Let's dive into this Coyote versus Acme situation.
You want to do that first?
Yeah, I want to rip this Band-Aid off. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's a really, really frustrating situation.
I mean, you're an aspiring filmmaker. I can only imagine what it seems like to you.
If this happened to me where like, okay, for instance, I'm working on this music video right now. Yeah. And this has been like a 2-week project, but I've like poured everything of myself into this thing.
Right.
It has taken over my life. And I can't imagine what that would look like for a feature film, let alone a music video.
Right.
And like just the hard work that all these hundreds of people put into this film, just for it to never be seen, never celebrated.
Never.
Regardless. Like that's heartbreaking. That's absolutely heartbreaking.
Right.
I feel for the filmmaking team the most because they poured all this hard work into this movie that Warner Brothers is just dismissing everything that they've put into it.
It's almost like an anti-art. I read a tweet, and whatever it's called now, and a post on X. There was like somebody who was talking about how MGM's Latin motto. Do you know what it is?
No.
Art for art's sake.
Art for art's sake.
Which is like that's what is like movies should be, because not every movie is meant to be like a populist blockbuster or a daring indie. They're supposed to be like just people making stories.
Yeah.
Because like, why not? Because that's what people fall in love with, have impacts with. It's not about a paycheck. It's not about the box office receipts. Yes, that is able to finance the stuff they do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost devastating to see these filmmakers like go through this and then lose that ability.
Yeah.
To showcase their film to people and have it find a new life. Like there used to be a situation where in film, a film has a second life after it's released. Like it can become a cult classic.
A lot of films are discovered through that.
I mean, yeah, like with the no budget films you always are talking about.
Like rolling my eyes at that.
I mean, but speak for yourself. Those are inspiring movies, you know?
Yeah.
And also it's like, it's important that we at least support film that takes a chance. And I know it's based on an IP, so people might roll their eyes at that. They're like, that movie would have had a chance anyway, but people still worked on it. People
worked their asses off for it.
Right.
They really did. And apparently test screenings were like incredibly positive.
Right.
And like I grew up on Looney Tunes cartoons. Like I'm a huge fan of the original Chuck Jones series. And I have been like wanting the Looney Tunes to make a big comeback. And it sounded like this could have been it. Apparently it was great. It was fantastic animation. It had like an original story. And
it's metatextual probably.
Exactly. And like the cast seemed fantastic. I love Will Forte. I would have loved to see him and Wiley like interact. Like, I think that would have been a blast. And like I even saw a clip of the score being composed. I don't know who the composer's name is, but like they were doing I don't know what that classical piece is called, but with the Roadrunner like doing the memes like me.
Oh
me,
yeah,
me.
yeah. That's great.
And I'm like, this looks so fun.
Yeah.
Like, what? And we don't get to see this. Like, look what they're taking from us.
I blame Brendan Fraser for winning Best Actor last year.
Explain the connection, please.
Looney Tunes back in action
is pretty good.
It's not.
Nah, it's pretty good.
No, it's not.
It's pretty good. It's better than Space Jam.
It's in the vein of, well, I blame Space Jam 2 as well. It's just both of those films, they kind of have put the nail in the coffin for Looney Tunes movies, even though they're releasing a Looney Tunes animated movie later this year.
Wait, are they actually?
They are, which is absurd if they're dumping both.
Like a theatrically released?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's theatrical, and it's fully animated, not just...
Oh, wow.
So,
I had no idea.
Yeah, you can look it up. I forget the title. It's got Porky Pig in it.
Okay.
But yeah, I just think with that film and like people taking Brendan Fraser seriously now and like the awful reception it got, I don't know how you could like that movie.
I don't know. I grew up on it, and also I'm a big Joe Dante fan.
Okay.
And like I know that he loves the Looney Tunes. And I don't know. I feel like the worst part of Back in Action is that the Looney Tunes are very much just kind of in the background. It's not focused on them.
Right, yeah.
And that's the worst part, but I do think there's a lot to like about it.
I think maybe it's because Space Jam 2 also failed.
Yeah.
At the box office critically.
Space Jam 2 was pretty crappy.
It's also awful.
It felt like that felt like the epitome of a cash
So
grab.
maybe they damaged the brand. And I'm not saying like they should can a movie, but that's probably the only explanation I could give as to why they'd want it. Because I was following the test stuff, and I know I didn't like the Tom and Jerry movie they did either.
I didn't even see that. I heard it was bad.
So like it's understandable that they would want to be careful.
Yeah.
But this movie doesn't seem like it's harmful in any way.
No.
Honestly.
And like, yeah, it's frustrating. And
Right.
like you said, it feels like it's anti-art because
Anti-art.
it seems like the purpose of these movies is purely business and not to contribute to the overall landscape of cinema.
Ironically, I think it's gotten people's like lawmakers approach, which is funny because it's Wile E. Coyote going to court.
Yeah.
But the movie.
Yeah.
But what if they made a movie of that? Like somebody made a movie
That'd be true.
of the court battle.
Of like whether or not this is ethical for Warner Brothers to do.
That would be maybe a better movie. Even.
That'd be an incredible premise for something. Screenwriters out there, we just gave you.
Where's your spec script for the Wile E. Coyote really going to court movie in real life?
Oh my god, that'd be crazy.
Do a mockumentary.
That'd be insane.
That would be amazing.
I would dig that.
Think of like a Christopher Guest documentary.
Yes, like a mockumentary style, and like interviews with all the tunes, like getting involved, and like where they've been in life and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
you could have fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's move on to lighter topics.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
The Super Bowl. Oh,
Super Bowl commercials.
I'm so sorry.
Trailers. Oh yeah. So,
R.I.P.
Viewers of the show, I am a 49er fan. That was pretty hard. That was a heartbreak.
Devastating.
It sucked.
For you.
But this is not a sports podcast. This is a movie podcast, and we got a lot of trailers. A lot of trailer drops that day.
We did.
What was the standout for you? What like one caught your attention the most? Which one has you the most excited?
I think Twisters.
Yes.
Ironically.
Okay. I did not know that was the director of Minari.
Yeah, it is.
That is an insane follow-up. That is an insane follow-up.
Well, it's a Midwestern movie.
I guess, like, sure, but like, wow, what a step.
Hey, maybe it's maybe he's gonna do good with the character drama.
We'll see. We'll see a Glenn Powell Best Supporting Actor nomination for Twisters. Daisy Edgar
I can't
Jones.
Believe that. I can't bring myself to believe that.
No. But like, I don't know. It looks like fun. Have you seen the original Twister?
Yeah,
I have not.
What?
I have not seen the original
Joey,
Twister. I haven't seen it.
Of all of those movies, I would have thought, because you're like an 80s, 90s, sort of grew up on those
but
movies.
I'm also not big on like natural disaster movies.
Oh, well, that
I don't know.
explains
Those
it.
usually don't tickle my fancy.
Well, I had a big fear of those growing up. Not tornadoes specifically, but natural disasters. I remember walking in on my parents watching. You could probably throw up like posters for these shitty TV movies.
Okay,
but
let's hear them.
10.5 and 10.5 Apocalypse, which are about like earthquakes that are that magnitude, like shattering the U.S. in two.
Yeah.
And I walked in on my parents watching that on NBC, and I was like, nope.
These were real movies?
They were 3 hours like miniseries split into 2 parts, and they terrified
like narrative,
me.
like scripted.
Yes.
About.
Yes.
Wow.
And they're terrifying, but they're awful.
Wait, so there's a sequel. So there's a 10.5 and then there's another series. So another 10.5 earthquake happens?
Yeah. It's the world. It's so crazy. It's awful. You could probably find them on like YouTube somewhere because like who cares about a miniseries that came out on NBC in like 2005.
Yeah.
But the Towering Inferno, stuff like that, terrified me as a kid.
Okay.
And I remember watching Twister and it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Twister, Titanic, disaster movies freaked me the hell out. So, but Twister is like one of the first ones I remember having like positive memories of. Like it's sort of in the same vein of like Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Sort of that same tone, but it takes Twister so seriously.
Yeah.
That it's like almost funny.
That's what I like though. I like movies that are like inherently campy just from their premise, but then just like double down on it.
Yeah.
And take it like so seriously. I think it makes it even better.
Well, Bill Paxton's like the only character in the movie who's like not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
But he's like the antagonist, but also the love interest at the same time. Okay. And it's interesting. 90s is when like Bill Paxton like ruled the land.
But yeah, I mean like in the 90s, like because of Independence Day,
yeah,
there was like a string of these just disaster movies. Like there was the 2 volcano movies. I think one's just straight up called Volcano and then Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, or Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like those movies, they've never appealed to me so much, but like I don't know, like I'll give Twist because the trailer did like it looks like fun. It looks like a fun summer movie.
Well, I mean, Glenn Powell is like taking off in Hollywood.
He is, and I like Glenn Powell. I really do. I think he's a good leading man. I've yet to see Anyone But You. Did you see it?
Yeah.
And how is he in it?
He's all right.
He's okay. He's doing his best.
I think, honestly, Sydney Sweeney is, like, not a very good actress. From what I've seen. I've seen her in, like, one episode of Euphoria. She was good in that. And then, like, in every movie I've seen her in, I've been, like, unimpressed.
I think...
I haven't seen Reality, though.
I think she like shot up really quick, and I think Hollywood is still figuring out what roles work for her and what don't.
I mean, she's going to be in a Marvel movie. She's going to be in a nun horror movie. She just was in that romantic comedy.
Yeah.
So it's like they're testing the waters with her as an actress.
They know that like she's a star. They're just figuring out like, okay, but where does she like fit in?
Right.
But Glenn Powell,
yeah,
I like Glenn Powell.
He's good-ish. He has his moments.
Yeah.
He's a bit smarmy.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this Twisters movie, it looks.
It looks fun.
Yeah.
I like Daisy Edgar Jones.
Yeah.
Right. That's her name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting that right.
Loved her in Normal People.
Yeah. She's also in a miniseries called Under the Banner of Heaven.
Never heard of it.
It is a Andrew Garfield led detective mystery about the Mormon community.
Oh, I might have personal connection.
You should check. I think you would enjoy it. You and Evelyn should give it a watch.
Was there any trailers that made you groan?
That made me groan?
Yeah, that made you go, ugh.
Wait, list the ones that we had. I'll let you know if it was
Wicked
worthy or not. Yes. Okay, there we go. Wicked. I'm sorry. It's just not working for me. I'm like, so with musical movies, I think like the best one recently that I've seen would be West Side Story.
Yeah, it's great.
West Side Story.
It's great.
Because the thing about musicals is that like they're theatrical in nature. And I just like it when movies, like musical movies, embrace that. And what I'm seeing with movies like Wicked or even Wonka, from what I've seen of it, I haven't seen the movie, is that they're trying to make them seem like typical blockbuster affairs with like massive CGI sets.
Ensemble cast.
Exactly. And it's just, I don't know, like I want to see like a practical painted backdrop. I want to see like just
matte paintings.
Exactly. Embrace the theatrical nature of it. Go full Francis Ford Coppola and One from the Heart on it. Like seriously, like give me something that looks, out of this world. Like give me something that looks straight off the stage. And I actually do like the musical.
It's
Wicked.
all right.
I think it's a fun show.
It's overrated, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure, you can make that argument, but I guess it's a good musical. Like I don't know. It has some good numbers, but like I don't know. Are they still doing the 2-part thing?
Yeah.
They are.
Which is crazy because they're advertising stuff in the second part, which makes me think that they've shot both parts.
I think they did.
And they're showing, but isn't that like...
And also you have to think like, do you think it's going to like do well financially speaking? Because what if it comes out and it like bombs?
No.
Because that's like the concern is that...
It's a musical...
Musical movies have not been performing very
Except
well.
Wonka didn't make...
Except Wonka. Mean Girls did okay, but the reason is both of those movies were not marketed as musicals.
Just, I love musicals, and it's so sad to see musicals not being marketed in like the way that I have always seen musicals, which is like this magical escapism.
Yeah.
And Wicked looks like Oz the Great and Powerful.
It does. Oh man, that's
what a throwback, huh?
Yeah, that is a massive throwback.
Sam Raimi
diving into Oz. What a random moment in film history.
Well, yeah, and it's like that movie made nothing at the box office. And I know Wizard of Oz is a very marketable IP.
Yeah.
And it's not even being done by Warner Brothers. It's being done by Universal Studios.
Yeah, which is very bizarre. I'm not I mean, we've only seen a trailer. I'm not really liking Ariana Grande in it. Like, I don't know, something about seeing her, like, she doesn't read as, like, an actress to me. Like, I don't know. There's some, like, pop stars who are also actors where, like, I can, like, Gaga, for example. I can very much see her on the screen, but also on stage performing. With Ariana Grande, she has yet to prove that, like, separation.
Yeah.
So, like, I see her and, like, something about it just, like, she's just not fitting in for me.
I just think the visual style is what's turning me off
most. And it looks very stale.
It looks like
generic.
every blockbuster movie.
Every blockbuster movie. That, like, gray scale, like, kind of wash over it.
But Oz is supposed to be so colorful.
Exactly. It's supposed to be vibrant. Look at the original film from 1937.
The Technicolor is insane.
It's so gorgeous to look at. There's a reason that movie has, like, maintained its status all these years.
Okay. Well, I will be seated, but I won't be happy.
I'll see how I feel. I never saw Wonka. So that's the thing. It seems like Wonka coded. It seems like it'll be this year's like Wonka.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Just because I love Wonka because it's supposed to be goofy, but this movie is going to take itself so seriously.
Yeah.
That's going to be I think it could be Cats, not Wonka.
I think part of what helps is that I have seen Wicked live. Like, I've seen the play.
Me too.
And, like, I know the musical numbers. So, like, I think I will see it just to see how certain things are adapted.
I think it's going to feel like music videos. It's going to feel like Mean Girls.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right.
We'll see. Deadpool?
Yeah.
Deadpool.
What do you think?
Deadpool and Wolverine. That's the title.
You're a hater.
No, I'm not.
You're an MCU hater.
Okay. With the exception of the Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool, I am a Deadpool fan. I really enjoyed Deadpool.
Okay. Do you like the second Deadpool?
I do. I really like the second. I remember
that's underrated.
When it came out, I think I was one of the warmest on it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the action was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan Reynolds, as like much as he's kind of just built this brand, this character that he plays in every movie now, he's at his best when he's Deadpool.
Exactly, because it's like when you see him in like Free Guy or even in
you're just thinking about Deadpool. It's
and
just,
I'm like,
he's just doing Deadpool.
He's doing Deadpool, but kid friendly.
Exactly.
Because it's PG-13.
Yeah.
Whereas with Deadpool, he gets to go off the leash.
Yeah.
And also he's like breaking the fourth wall.
It is. And it's like the one time that like you can see these movies comment on themselves.
I think, and Joey, you have not watched Loki because you don't watch the Disney Plus shows.
I know, but I saw the TVA in it, and I'm like, oh man, am I gonna have to watch Loki before seeing this?
I hate to jump back to what I've been watching, but because of the trailer, I went back and watched Loki season 2. And I am warm on the MCU, but I have fallen off. I don't watch everything, especially the shows. I watched all the movies at least once. It's great. It's the best thing they put out in the past 5 years.
That's what people keep saying. I think maybe I just got to give it a go.
Because here's the reasoning. It feels like a standalone property. It doesn't feel like it's trying to connect to anything, and it's a character story. It's not based on anything that's like pre-existing or trying to set up this. At first you think so with this whole relation to Kang as a character. But it's not as big as you think it is. And it's actually more interesting in terms of a time travel narrative and about Loki as a character.
Okay.
But I don't think you have to watch it, but I do think it would help you understand certain concepts.
Well, here's the thing. It's giving me an excuse to watch it because it's been one of those shows that's like, all right, like enough people has recommended it to me. And like it does, like from the clips I've seen, it does look actually visually interesting.
Oh, it is.
Which is in the MCU, we've gotten a lot of what we were just talking about, that kind of grayscale, very generic look.
Like this, the airport battle from Civil War.
Oh my God, don't
it's gross.
Yeah, it's just gray.
Yeah.
It's just gray and flat.
I love colors.
I love colors too. And like Loki, very much it looks very warm, it looks vibrant.
But Deadpool.
I'm excited. I didn't even need to see a trailer, and I'm excited.
It looks fun.
It looks fun. I am interested to see how they do incorporate Wolverine into the storyline and how they're going to acknowledge Logan.
Yeah.
Apparently, they've said like this is a different Wolverine, like from a different timeline than that Logan. That's what I'm hearing.
Let him have his ending.
Yes. So like, if you wanted to just see this as a standalone Wolverine story, like you could. That's what it's sounding like.
Bingo.
Which is cool. And who doesn't love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine?
I can't wait to see what he does with an R rating.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's gonna be so fun.
It's gonna be gory. It's gonna be profane.
I'm glad that with the Disney merger, they're letting Deadpool continue to be Deadpool.
Well, we'll see if they try to like stick too many things in there that don't belong.
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about. Sean Levy too. I don't know.
Sean Levy, yeah, he is. What kind of? He's just like a hired gun kind of director. You know what I mean? In the sense where like he doesn't incorporate a lot of personal style into his films. He very much delivers
what they want.
Exactly. And there's not, you can make the argument there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, like I'm just worried he's going to be too much of a yes man.
Yeah.
In the sense that he's not going to incorporate enough original ideas.
I agree with that. And that's what's concerning, but you know.
And not only that, but they shot this like before and after the strikes, but apparently there was a short section where they were filming after the writer striked, and then they wouldn't let Ryan Reynolds improv, which is like what those movies are based off of.
Yeah,
is like the improv and like these very spontaneous comedic moments. Like that's the character.
That is the character. The merc with the mouth.
And like the fact that there wasn't a writer on set, like pitching ideas, like they didn't have their normal writing team for. And I don't think this was for all of filming, but at least I think I heard for a part of filming they had that, and that's concerning too.
I think I'm not an MCU hater, but I do wish them the best here. I'm going to go see it, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
It's going to
me
be a
too.
hit, I think.
I also didn't know it was coming out as soon as July.
I'm scared about that, but then again, it doesn't seem like a film franchise that needs a lot of CGI. But, I mean, they've got a lot on their plate. They got 4 movies next year, including Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, and the cast finally
Revealed.
And yeah,
it's all right.
I'm the exact. Okay, I'm glad that we're meeting at the same place on this. I am like perfectly whelmed with that lineup.
Like
it's like, yeah.
The only one I'm genuinely excited to see is Eben Moss Bacharach, I think is how you pronounce his name.
And what has he been in?
The Bear.
Oh,
he's in The Bear.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it's clicking. It's clicking.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I could totally see him as Ben Grimm.
And I think he brings like that anger to the role, but also that emotional sensitivity. I know you haven't seen The Bear, right?
I've seen like half of the first season.
Okay, he is like he gets an emotional hook in the second season that works.
Okay,
and I think if he brings that to the thing. Perfect casting.
Because that's what Michael Chiklis brought to the original he's the best part of those 2000s Fantastic Four movies.
I have no doubt that he's going to be the best part of this. Okay. I think Pedro Pascal is like we cast a famous actor as Reed Richards.
Yeah, that seems like it seems like remember when they put John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness and that was totally a Twitter casting.
They're like, "All right, he's popular right now."
And it's also just like a popular Twitter topic.
I don't know who Joseph Quinn is.
Stranger Things. He plays Eddie Munson. You've seen those like Hellfire Club shirts? Come on. Yes, you have.
I haven't.
Whatever. Okay. But
I haven't watched season 4, so.
It's actually pretty good. It's an improvement of season 3. But he was on Stranger Things, which I learned just today. And he's good. I can see it happening. I can picture the character. That's the only thing I've seen him in, but I think he'll work just fine.
Vanessa Kirby, I love seeing her in roles.
Yeah.
I think she was terrific in About Time.
She's also very good in Napoleon. Have you seen it yet?
No, that's one of the 2 I have left.
She's really good in Napoleon.
And then Mission Impossible, she's great in. So I have no doubt that she'll prove herself here to be a wonderful part of this, but it's like I'm whelmed. What I'm really excited for is the angle that they're going with. It looks like they're going with a 1960s like retro movie,
which is cool.
And
also it's from the director of WandaVision, so like that's
also visually distinct.
Yeah,
in a way.
It's up his alley.
Yeah, will it save the MCU or are we gonna see a like drastic fallout?
What do you mean by save the MCU?
Well, I think it's got a brief chance. In the next 2 years, we'll find out whether or not they're going to just like scrap these projects like the DCEU and throw it away in the garbage can and be like, we're done.
Yeah.
Or do you think they're going to like just, I don't know.
I don't think superhero movies are necessarily dying. I think the recent failures is definitely making them pump the brakes a little bit and like, okay, maybe we should reassess, like take some more time to like put these out. Maybe the high volume at which we've been releasing content is like deterring audiences.
Yeah.
So I think like that's what we're going to see happen. I don't think superhero movies are just going to like fade out though necessarily. I think we're still going to get like a handful of superhero movies a year. They're going to be, I don't think they're going to reign supreme like they have been.
I'm honestly thankful for that, even as a fan of Marvel.
And I think it's going to start forcing these studios to like, hey, maybe we got to change things up with the style and whatnot. Like, I mean, for me, I think the superhero project that my most anticipated would be James Gunn's Superman movie,
which is opening up against Fantastic Four.
Yeah, which is going to be very interesting.
Will you be seated as a superhero?
I'm not
non-defender.
A hater. I'm not, because I like a good superhero movie when they're good.
Guardians 3, you like that movie.
I love Guardians 3.
Yeah.
I love when they actually let a director have an original take on the film. And it sounds like what's his name? Matt Shankman? Shackman. It sounds like he has a unique vision that he can bring to the project, like you were saying.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right.
Color me intrigued.
All
right. Should we dive into the main topic?
The course of Valentine's Day, which was yesterday.
It was yesterday, and people are listening to this well
after.
Yeah, a week after Valentine's Day. But we saw Lisa Frankenstein together, and we have yet to reveal what we thought to each other.
You haven't looked at Letterboxd.
I've not looked at Letterboxd. I don't know how you feel. You don't know how I feel.
I don't.
Okay. Do you want to say I like it, I didn't like it on 3?
All right.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
It was
I
okay.
loved it. Okay.
Okay.
You thought it was okay.
Yeah.
Mixed bag.
Yeah.
Go into that.
I think where this film gets it wrong, and I know
Starting with the negatives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
let's hear it.
that I think it feels like 5 different movies in one.
Interesting.
It feels
Elaborate.
like it. Well, I love a movie that can cross between like horror, comedy, that kind of stuff, but it's like horror, comedy, romance, gothic thriller, stuff like that.
There's a lot happening in this movie.
There is a lot, and it's doing it with a very thin tonal balance, and it feels almost like it's adapting like Tim Burton.
It is. It's very Burton inspired.
To me, it felt like Warm Bodies.
Yeah, I was going to say very comparable films.
Warm Bodies plus Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
And that is fine, but I've seen the movie before. You know, I know what to expect, which is like be careful what you wish for sort of storyline. And I love that it took swings. I love that it was set in the 80s. I love that it's like kind of like pushing the boundary for a PG-13 film, like in terms of its sexuality and violence.
Yeah.
But what I don't like is the tonal inconsistencies. The sound design for me, it felt like a dead silent movie.
I will say, like, the sound mix, like, especially for the dialogue, felt low. And I didn't know if that was the movie or maybe we were just in a bad theater.
I thought that was a good theater. I don't know. It just felt like in scenes where we were focusing on the dialogue, there is no ambient noise.
Yeah.
There's no score.
Yeah.
It's like dead silent.
I get what you mean. There were like a couple of sequences that felt like almost like a rough cut.
That's what I felt like. It was a first draft.
And I think that's because now I'm a big fan of this movie. So any negatives that I say, like, take it with a grain of salt because I have a lot more praises than I do have negatives.
Yeah.
But Zelda Williams, this is a feature film directorial debut, and you can kind of see the inexperience.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say.
No restraint.
Which there was a lot of creativity on display.
Absolutely.
It was a lot of fun. I really loved the tone, the energy. But you could see where the inexperience would come in. Like certain scenes didn't piece together very smoothly. Because you have to make a comparison to Jennifer's Body.
Oh yeah,
which is another Diablo Cody movie, and a very similar tone. And apparently they share the same universe. Apparently that's a thing. I don't know.
No, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, they share the same universe, but you can tell that what's her name, Karen Kusama.
Yeah, she did that one.
She had such a strong directorial vision on Jennifer's Body that here you're not seeing that quite as much. There's some really great ideas and some great visual moments, but you can see where like it was a less experienced director.
The pacing for me.
Really? I thought it was pretty well paced.
I thought it was horribly paced.
What?
I thought for a 100-minute movie, it took a while to get to the point.
I don't know.
I looked at my phone when around the time I had to go to the bathroom because I didn't want to miss the movie.
Yeah.
And it was like an hour into the movie where I finally was like, okay, I'm invested.
Really?
Yeah.
I was hooked from the start. Now, okay, I have to say the reason I love this movie, those who know me know, I love 80s movies. I love camp horror. I love teen movies. I love a good romance. Like there's just a lot of elements that like fill my personal biases. So like naturally this movie was a delight for me to watch.
It's fun.
I had a blast. I was smiling throughout.
He was laughing so hard.
I was smiling throughout. I felt bad because this movie's not doing very well. It wasn't a very full theater. We saw a matinee on a Thursday.
You were like the only person like laughing.
And like that's the thing, I felt bad. Like, oh man, I wish I was seeing this with like a bunch of like camp horror fans and like just having a goof, having a gap.
It's gonna be a cult classic. I agree with that.
I think give it like 5 years, it's gonna sell out the new Bev.
I think it's not really a good comp to Jennifer's Body. Like maybe in terms of themes, but tone. It couldn't be a more drastic difference, in my opinion.
I think the biggest comparison between the two is like you can hear Cody's voice.
Oh yeah,
so strong. She has such a specific way of writing dialogue where she's like inventing slang like on the go. Like, of course, there's a lot of 80s slang in this, but there's like very specific phrases that she gives her characters that just make these movies feel unique to her. And I just love that.
My problem is with that is I often found it difficult to like adjust to the time period, which is something I usually don't say about 80s movies. And maybe we're overloaded on these 80s and 90s nostalgia trips at this point because it's becoming the norm. Because this happens every decade with whatever decade follows the previous.
We're already seeing a 2000s resurgence right now.
Check out our
DD, even Saltburn. Saltburn's a throwback.
So it's like we're starting to see that, and I'm like, there's a fatigue there. And honestly, I felt like, I don't know if it was Zelda Williams or the not casting, Zelda Williams or Diablo Cody's fault, but it made it difficult because I was like, this could very well be a modern movie with an 80s aesthetic.
That's kind of how I read it, though, to be honest. Like, I didn't feel like a need to necessarily like buy into the fact like, oh, this is 1989.
Here's a question. Did you buy into the romance of the movie?
Yes. 100%. I think Catherine Newton and which Sprouse was
Cole.
It was Cole Sprouse.
Riverdale one.
It was Cole Sprouse. I thought they were so charming on screen together. I love their dynamic, and like I understand like where her character was coming from because Diablo Cody always writes characters that like feel out of place. Misfits, and the world doesn't understand them, and like who just constantly get roadblocked by all these societal expectations. And there's no exception here. Like, and I think that's what you see in Catherine Newton's character. Mm-hmm. And I think the romance that she has with this reanimated corpse by like a random storm, it's not totally explained, but like I didn't need it to. The tone said that this is pretty out of this world. I agree with that. And like I see what she got out of that dynamic. And I love that like he isn't immediately like the love of her life.
Oh yeah.
It takes you wouldn't expect this from this movie, but the romance there is a build up to it. She has feelings for another guy. She thinks she likes him, but then she finds out something. And it is a romance between them, but I love seeing the lead up to that.
I think I'd argue that it is a little too rushed in the end. But I will say, I did find myself in the last bit, like, not tearing up, but feeling my emotions well.
Yeah.
When she wrote him the little note.
Yeah.
Sorry for
spoilers.
Release. Yeah.
All of these are spoilers. And also all these reviews are like a week and a half later.
Yeah. So it's like that moment to me was like the signifier of like, okay, I may not have bought into this completely, but it did get me somewhere.
Yeah.
And I felt something. And that's something to say about this movie. I did feel something. I feel mixed on the execution, like you said.
I can see that. Like, as I was watching, I'm like, I know I'm probably going to be a little alone with, like, my praise for this movie.
Evelyn loved it.
Evelyn loved it too?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So I'm alone.
Yeah. Well, Evelyn and I will discuss. We'll gush about it after this. But I don't know. Like, I think the voice is so strong from the script that it worked for me. And it also threw back to a lot of those like really campy like 80s and 90s teen comedies. Oh, yeah. Like I was getting Encino Man vibes from this. Have you seen Encino Man?
No.
With Brendan Fraser?
No.
And Ke Huy Quan. 2 of last year's Oscar winners are in this movie. Do you know what it's about?
No.
It's about so it's about these 2 teenagers. One is played by Sean Astin, one is played by Pauly Shore, who find this like block of ice that has a frozen caveman.
Where?
In Encino.
Where is that?
In the valley. Around here.
Okay.
Around like the San Fernando Valley.
I don't know.
Los Angeles. You're an Orange County guy.
I'm an OC guy.
He is an OC guy.
I've moved on.
But they find this, and then it's Brendan Fraser who's this caveman, and then they show him like, you know.
So you got the same campy vibe.
Yes, from like movies of that flavor. Oh. And not only that, but you get some like dark commentary, some dark satirical comedy. Like I was getting a lot of Heathers vibes.
I haven't seen Heathers.
You haven't seen Heathers?
No.
Oh man, Heathers is really good.
So you need to see Twister. I need to see Heathers.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll watch these throughout the week, and then next week we'll report
be
back.
Like what I've watched.
But I don't know. I just think like it was very very strongly influenced by not only those movies, but a lot of like gothic horror films from like the 30s, and like there's a lot of homages to A Trip to the Moon.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, like a lot of A Trip to the Moon imagery in this.
I thought there would be
film.
more like Universal Monsters stuff.
Yeah, which there was. There was that really cool dream sequence.
Yeah, and there's the drawing she has all around her room, and like it's the like cemetery, which is very noir. And
it is.
Like I love that stylistic aspect.
I could just tell, like, I don't know. I could tell, like, the filmmakers are nerds for this stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm a nerd for it, too. So I was able to, like, just relish in all of it.
It hits the nail on the head in terms of those. I just feel like, was it strong enough of a romance for me? Not necessarily.
I can see that, but I don't know. I really thought the lead performances were, like, incredibly charming.
I thought all of the performances were good in this
They
movie.
totally won me
Especially her sister and her stepmother.
Yes.
By Carla Gugino, and I don't know the other girl's name.
Yeah, but I've seen both of them before.
Yeah, but I think they nail that kind of stereotypical like role that we've seen.
Yeah.
And it's a very sweet movie. Something I do think more people should see. Valentine's Day, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. This movie has cult favorite written all over it.
Yeah,
like Jennifer's Body. I keep going back to Jennifer's Body just because that's one of my favorite horror films, and it's the
very
same
good.
writer.
Yeah.
And I saw like the same voice in both of these films. And that movie ended up being a cult classic, and I see a very similar fate for this.
This
movie.
is more fun than Jennifer's Body.
It's a lot of fun. It's like, I don't know. It was a joyful experience despite any flaws that it has. From start to finish, I was thoroughly entertained, and like you said, I think it has a big heart.
So what would you give it on a Blu-ray scale of 5?
Out of 5, on a stack of 5 Blu-rays, I give it a solid 4 Blu-rays out of 5. 4
Blu-rays. That's very
solid
good.
4 Blu-rays out of 5.
That's very good in my book.
Yeah, how about you?
I would give it 2.5 Blu-rays.
So you give it 2 Blu-rays and then the little PSP UMD disc.
I just think it's a fun movie, harmless movie. Original, unique take, but it needed some restraint. It needed some tonal consistency, and though it didn't take itself seriously, which I liked, I would have loved to be more invested in the romance. But that ending is so sweet. I can't get over it. It's a little. It takes a little Return of the King edge there with 3 or 4 different endings.
It
but,
does.
You know,
it does.
That's where I'm talking about with restraint. But yeah, good movie.
It
at
is.
Times.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I want to watch it again with my girlfriend Tori. I'm very curious to see what her thoughts are going to be on it.
She's going to be like, good movie.
I texted her after the movie, and I'm like, I could see you loving this, but I can also kind of see you hate this.
Fall asleep? Does Tori fall asleep in movies?
She only did once, and that was during Banshees of Inisherin. Which is get this, she actually likes that movie. She did like it, but she still fell asleep.
Too cozy.
It's too cozy of a movie. It's too like that movie kind of just lulls you.
Yeah,
it really does.
It's really dark. Also really dark. So maybe.
How do we start talking about Banshees? That's insane.
It's not the point. That's a lover movie.
That is.
A bromance.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's about friendship and what it means to people.
And we're friends.
We are friends. This was fun.
Really great one-on-one discussion.
This was. Yeah. This was a good talk.
Well,
I think that will do it for today's episode.
I miss our co-hosts.
Ethan and
Chris. I hope they get better.
I hope they recover very soon.
Yeah. Please send your well wishes.
Thoughts and prayers. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.